to play that game?
Coach Bryant walked through the double doors and came to my office on that Sunday afternoon before he passed away on Tuesday or Wednesday. And we had a good visit personally, and the first time he'd ever been in my office, I needed anything with Coach Bryant. I went in his, and got on the elevators and went on down. Found out he got sick over at one of his friend's house on Monday night. Put him in the hospital Monday night, Tuesday. Probably died Wednesday morning. They came down to the floor and told me that they were fixing to announce that Coach Bryant had passed away. Mm. And so I called our squad in. We stopped practice and went in. I went to the telephone and called Paul Jr. and I asked Paul Jr. what he thought about me having to leave the next day to go to play UCLA, who was number one in the country. And he said, and the answer was, Papa would have wanted you to play. And I told this story when I introduced one of our teams. And we went out, and the game was on television. Excuse me, the game, of course, the game was on television, but the game was a big game because we were pretty good. And the funeral was on television. And they took the body through Centerville. They went to Birmingham. They didn't come straight from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham. They went down the side roads and through the little towns, and people held up American flags and different Alabama stuff. Very touching scene that I'm glad you mentioned it, because I've said this before on radio before, but I think it's good to mention that, because I think he passed away unexpectedly. I think he was a little bit lost as to what he wanted to do with himself to start with. Teams had not been good, and when he walked through those doors on Sunday afternoon and kept coming, I was at the water fountain and getting a drink, and I didn't even know he was up there. And kept coming and he sat down with me and started talking about how he mishandled Snake Stabler. Wish I'd record. I got a chair and pulled up in front of him, and he told me something about the Fleethlicker play. You don't even remember this, that Georgia did something on a lateral that beat them in Athens one time, and very very interesting few minutes in there, because if I needed to talk to Coach Bryant, I went to Coach Bryant's office and knocked on the door. He always came with those glasses down on his nose, and he's always good to me. And if I asked him to call a kid for me, he would always do that. When I would go down on Monday and ask him what the kid said, and he would tell me. I didn't ask him to call many, but I asked him to call 2 or 3. And,
can you imagine